Hi there, welcome to yet another tutorial on this channel. Today we'll be learning how to draft a princess that bustier. So for this tutorial, I already went ahead to mark my margin line on my pattern paper. So what I'm going to be doing next is to mark out my shoulder measurements. To get your shoulder measurements, your full back shoulder measurement divided by 2. So mine is 15 inches, so I'm going to go ahead to place 7.5 inches there. So after that, I'm going to go ahead to mark out my shoulder slope, which is half an inch. I usually like to make use of half an inch for my shoulder slope. You could use 1 inch depending on what you want. So after that, I'm going to go ahead to mark out my body points measurements. From my shoulder line to my bust point is 10 inches. Then for my bust point to my under bust is 14.5 inches. Then for my bust point to my waistline is 17 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead to mark out the lines across like so. So after I've done with that, I'm going to mark out my round armhole measurement, which is 8 inches. To get your round armhole measurement, you divide your bust by 6 plus 1.5 inches. So when placing out your round armhole length measurement, don't forget to start from the shoulder slope point there. So after I was done with that, I'm just going to go ahead to connect this together. So I'm just going to go ahead to label that point, my chest line, then my bust line, my under bust, and then my waistline. So after I was done with that, I'm going to go ahead to place my bust point measurements. So for those of us that don't know, your bust point is your nipple to nipple measurement, your nipple to nipple. That's what your bust point is. So mine is 8 inches, so I'm going to divide that by 2, so which is 4 inches. Then I'm going to place 4 inches on my center front, as you can see. So now we are going to go on my center front parts, you can see. So I'm going to go there and place half an inch on my waistline and on my under bust. I'm going to be placing half an inch on that part, and I'm going to mark a straight line across that point. So after I was done with that, I'm going to move to my side front, and I'm going to place 1.5 inches on that my waistline and my under bust point. And I'm going to mark a straight line across that part. So after I was done with that, I'm going to come down on my bust line by 1 inch. I'm going to come down my bust line by 1 inch. Then I'm going to mark a curve to connect to that line we already drew. So just look at what I'm doing. This is very easy, and I'm sure you are going to understand. So making use of my French curve, I'm going to make a curve across to meet that line we already have on our under bust. So I'm going to do the same thing for my side front. So I'm just going to go ahead to measure my armhole length that I have there. So whatever I have on that point, I'm going to divide it by 2. Then after I was done with that, I'm going to come in by half an inch, because we are drafting our front armhole, and our front armhole is more deeper than the back one. So I came in by half an inch so we can get that deepness. So now I'm just going to connect my armhole round points like so, as you can see me do. Then I'm just going to make sure that the armhole is corresponding with my bust measurement. So now I came up on my bust line by 1 inch. So after I was done with that, I'm going to measure my armhole round. I'm going to measure it round to determine what we have in that curve there. So after I've determined that I had 10 inches, so I'm just going to place 5 inches on that part. Then using my French curve, I'm going to determine my princess that point there, as you can see me doing the video. So now I'm just going to come up under my princess curve line. Then I'm going to mark half an inch on each side, then use my French curve to mark out a dart like curve connecting to that 1 inch we came up on the bust line. So after I was done with that, we are going to extend my armhole. We've taken 1 inch on the armhole already, and it won't be accurate again, so we have to add that 1 inch back. So from that my armhole that we have before, we are going to draft another armhole from that part. So we are extending the armhole by 1 inch. So please just look at what I'm doing in the video. This is self-explanatory. So after I was done with that, I'm just going to mark out my body measurements, adding 2-inch allowance. Then I'm going on my waistline to measure my waist measurement divided by 4, which is 8.5 inches. Then I'm placing the 8.5 inches. So I went into the dart there to measure what I have, which is 2 inches. Then I'm going to place that 2 inches for the dart allowance, then add my normal allowance, sewing allowance, which is 2 inches also. And I did the same thing for my round under bust. So after I was done with that, I'm just going to place my body curve measurement there. So now to get my neckline, I use 4 inches for my neckline width, then 3 inches for my neckline depth. I'm just going with a normal basic circle neckline. So after I was done with that, I'm just going to mark out the points I'm going to be cutting off from the pattern, so as not to make mistake while cutting. So guys, you can actually adapt this pattern into a gown. Maybe you want to make a panel gown, like 6 pieces gown or so. What you are just going to do is to extend it into your hip. You're going to mark out your hip line too. So if you like to see me do a tutorial showing you how you can adapt this princess bustier into a gown, please let me know in the comment section. Please, if this video was helpful enough to you, if you've learned a thing or two from this video, please give it a thumbs up, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you can see more of my videos. Thank you so much for watching.